Imagine yourself stepping out onto your front porch, the air thick with the scent of blooming jasmine, the morning sun casting long shadows across the neatly manicured lawns of your quiet suburban street. The rhythm of your life here is predictable, comforting Ivana symphony of sprinkler hisses, distant lawnmowers, and the soft hum of neighbors beginning their day. But today, something feels off. A discordant note disrupts the melody. Across the street, a car is parked in your designated spot, your space, the one you've parked in for years, marked clearly with your house number in crisp white paint. And there, standing beside it, is Karen, her arms crossed, her posture radiating defiance like a storm cloud ready to burst. Karen is no stranger to the neighborhood. Her house, a pristine two-story with rose bushes trimmed to geometric perfection, sits at the corner of Maple Drive, a silent testament to her obsession with control. She's the self-appointed enforcer of the HOA, her clipboard always at the ready, her voice sharp enough to slice through the morning calm. You've seen her before, pacing the sidewalks, her eyes scanning for infractions, a mailbox slightly askew, a lawn with one too many dandelions. But this is new. This is personal. She's parked her sleek black SUV in your spot, and as you approach, her gaze locks onto you, unyielding, daring you to challenge her. "Good morning," you say, keeping your tone measured, though the irritation simmers beneath your skin. The pavement feels warm under your feet, the faint grit of dust clinging to your shoes as you step closer. "That's my parking spot, Karen. Could you move your car?" Her laugh is sharp, like the crack of a whip. "Your spot," she says, her voice dripping with condescension. "This is HOA property, and I'm well within my rights. Check the bylaws, sweetheart. Section 4.2, paragraph 3. Parking is first come, first serve for residents in good standing." She leans forward, her perfectly manicured nails tapping the side of her SUV. "And last I checked, your dues were late again." You feel the heat rising in your chest, but you hold your ground. The neighborhood is waking up now, curtains twitching as curious eyes peer out from behind them. The air carries the faint temps of coffee from someone's open window, but it does nothing to soothe the tension. "My dues are paid," you say, your voice steady but firm, "and that spot is assigned to my house. It's always been that way." Smile is a thin, dangerous thing. "Assigned," she mocks, stepping closer, her perfume overwhelming, a cloying mix of lavender and entitlement. "Nothing's assigned unless the HOA says so. And I'm the HOA president. Maybe you should have thought twice before letting your grass grow half an inch too long. Rules are rules." The words hit like a slap, but it's her audacity that stings most. You've lived here for years, paid your dues, mowed your lawn, followed the rhythm of this community, and yet, here she is, rewriting the rules to suit her whims. You glance at her SUV, its polished surface gleaming under the sun, parked deliberately over the line, as if to claim not just your spot, but your dignity. The neighbors are watching gnawled. Mr. Thompson pauses mid-stride with his terrier. Mrs. Garcia lingers by her mailbox, her eyes wide with quiet alarm. The tension is palpable, a low hum that ripples through the street like a gathering storm. Karen doesn't stop. She steps closer, her voice dropping to a venomous whisper. "You think you're special, don't you? Think you can just waltz around here like you own the place? I've been watching you. your tacky holiday decorations, your noisy kids, your sloppy lifestyle. You're lucky I haven't found you yet. Her words are a barrage, each one landing like a stone, and you feel the weight of every eye on you, the neighborhood holding its breath. You take a step back, not out of fear, but to steady yourself. The morning air feels heavier now, thick with the promise of conflict. You've heard the stories Karen's tirades at HOA meetings, her relentless campaigns against non-compliant neighbors. Last month, she had the Wilsons' car towed for parking too close to a fire hydrant, even though it was their own driveway. The month before, she'd fined the Patels for planting tulips instead of the HOA-approved marigolds. But this is different. This is your space, your home, your small corner of the world she's trying to claim. Karen, you say, your voice low, deliberate. I'm not here to fight, just move your car. Her eyes narrow, and for a moment you think she might relent. But then she turns, her heels clicking sharply on the pavement, and tosses a final barb over her shoulder. You want a war? You've got one. Good luck. She slides into her SUV, slams the door, and drives off, not to move the car, but to leave it there. A black monolith in your spot, a challenge etched in steel and chrome. The street feels quieter now, but it's a deceptive calm. The neighbors disperse, their whispers trailing behind them like leaves in the wind. You stand there, staring at the empty space where your car should be, the faint smell of exhaust lingering in the air. The rhythm of your life has been disrupted, the harmony shattered, but something else stirs within you, a spark, a resolve. Karen thinks she's won this round, but she's underestimated you. You've lived here long enough to know the rules, and you've read those bylaws she loves to quote. There's a way to fight back, and you're already forming a plan. As you turn back toward your house, the sun climbs higher, casting harsh light across the street. The jasmine still blooms, its scent a faint reminder of the life you've built here. But now, there's a new rhythm emerging, one of defiance, of strategy, of a battle you didn't choose but won't back down from. Karen's reign of terror has gone unchallenged for too long, and this parking theft is just the beginning. You'll need to be smart, careful, precise. The neighborhood is watching, and the next move is yours. The sun dips lower now, painting the suburban street in hues of amber and gold, the kind of light that softens edges but sharpens resolve. You stand in your driveway, the faint warmth of the pavement seeping through your shoes, staring at Karen's black SUV, still squatting in your parking spot like an unwelcome guest. The scent of jasmine lingers, but it's laced with something sharper. Now your determination, growing like a vine, steady and unyielding. The rhythm of your life has been disrupted, but you're not one to let chaos reign unchallenged. Karen thinks she's untouchable, her HOA presidency, a crown she wears with smug authority. But you've been here long enough to know that even queens can fall, and you're about to make your first move. You head inside. The cool air of your home a brief respite, the faint hum of the refrigerator grounding you as you pull out your laptop. The HOA bylaws sit on your kitchen table, a dog-eared booklet you've skimmed before but never studied. Now it's your weapon. You flip through the pages, the paper smooth under your fingers, and there it is, section 4.2, paragraph 3, just as Karen quoted. But she didn't mention paragraph 4, assigned parking spaces, as designated by lot number, are reserved for the respective homeowner unless otherwise stipulated by a majority HOA vote. Your spot is yours, legally, unequivocally. Karen's claim is a lie, and you're starting to wonder what else she's been bending to her will. The neighborhood is quiet now, but the tension from this morning lingers like the faint buzz of cicadas in the distance. You've seen the way Karen operates her clipboard, her fines, her endless rules, but there's something off about her confidence, something calculated in the way she threw those bylaws at you. You decide to dig deeper. You pull up the HOA's online portal, the interface clunky but functional, and start scrolling through meeting minutes, violation notices, anything that might give you a clue. The scent of your evening coffee fills the kitchen, grounding you as you read. And then you find it a small note from last year's meeting. Buried in fine print, Karen proposed a motion to review parking assignments, but it was never voted on. She's been acting on her own, enforcing rules that don't exist. The realization hits you like a cool breeze on a stifling day. Karen's not just entitled, she's running a scam. You lean back in your chair, the wood creaking softly, and let the idea settle. She's been claiming parking spots, intimidating neighbors, maybe even pocketing fines for her own gain. But you need proof, and you need a plan. You glance out the window, where her SUV still sits, a dark silhouette against the fading light. An idea takes shape, one as bold as it is legal. If Karen wants to play dirty, you'll meet her on her own turf. You'll block her garage, not with force, but with strategy. You spend the next morning at the county clerk's office, the air heavy with the musty smell of old paper and bureaucracy. You request public records, HOA filings, property deeds, anything tied to parking regulations. The clerk, a kind woman with glasses perched on her nose, hands you a stack of documents, their edges slightly curled from years of storage. Back home, you spread them across your dining table, the faint clink of your coffee mug punctuating the silence. The records confirm it. Your parking spot is tied to your deed, untouchable without a formal HOA vote. But there's more. Karen's been issuing fines for parking violations that aren't logged in the official HOA ledger. The money's going somewhere, but not to the community. You decide to act. The next evening, under the cover of dusk, you borrow your friend Mike's old pickup truck. It's paint chipped, but its engine reliable. The street is quiet, the air thick with the scent of grilled dinners wafting from nearby houses. You park the truck directly in front of Karen's garage, careful to stay within the lines of the public street. No violation, no fine. It's a legal maneuver, one she can't contest without exposing her own overreach. You step back, the gravel crunching under your feet, and admire your work. The truck blocks her garage door completely, her precious SUV trapped inside. Let her try to get out now. Word spreads fast. By morning, the neighborhood is buzzing. A low hum of curiosity and amusement. Mrs. Garcia stops by, her eyes twinkling as she offers you a plate of homemade tamales, their warmth seeping through the foil. About time someone stood up to her, she whispers, glancing at Karen's house. Mr. Thompson, walking his terrier, gives you a nod, his usual gruff demeanor softened by a rare smile. The community is watching, not just with curiosity, but with hope. Karen's reign has cast a shadow for too long, and your blockade is a crack in her armor. But Karen doesn't stay quiet. By noon, she's out on her lawn, her voice carrying like a siren across the street. This is outrageous, she shouts, her hands on her hips, her face flushed with rage. You can't block my garage. I'll have you towed. You step outside, the air crisp with the promise of autumn, and face her calmly. It's a public street, Karen, you say, echoing her own logic. First come, first serve. Check. The bylaws, her eyes widen, a flicker of uncertainty breaking through her bravado. For the first time, she's not in control, and the neighborhood sees it. The whispers grow louder now. Neighbors gather in small clusters, their voices a soft murmur against the backdrop of rustling leaves. You overhear snippet stories of Karen's fines, her threats, her selective enforcement. The Patels mention a $200 fine for their tulips, never recorded. The Wilsons talk about their towed car, the fees suspiciously high. The community is starting to question her, to see the cracks in her facade. You've stirred something, a ripple that could become a wave. But you know Karen won't go down easily. She's cornered, and cornered animals fight hardest as the sun sets. Casting long shadows across the street, you stand on your porch, the faint scent of jasmine mingling with the cool evening air. The truck still sits in front of Karen's garage, a silent challenge. You've played by the rules, but you've also changed the game. The rhythm of the neighborhood is shifting, the tension building like a storm on the horizon. Karen's next move is coming, and you're ready. You've uncovered her scam, and now it's time to tighten the screws. The community is behind you, quietly rooting for her downfall. All you need is one more push. The morning dawns with a deceptive calm, the air crisp and heavy with the scent of dew-soaked grass. Your street, usually a canvas of suburban serenity, hums with an undercurrent of anticipation. Mike's old pickup truck still sits in front of Karen's garage, its chipped paint catching the first rays of sunlight, a stubborn monument to your defiance. The jasmine blooms persist, their fragrance a faint reminder of the life you're fighting to protect. But the rhythm of the neighborhood has shifted. It's no longer just whispers and sidelong glances. The neighbors are openly watching now, their morning routines paused as they sensed the storm brewing. Karen's black SUV remains in your parking spot, a silent taunt, but you've struck back, and she's not the type to let that go unanswered. You're sipping coffee on your porch, the ceramic mug warm in your hands, when Karen emerges from her house. Her movements are sharp, deliberate, like a predator stalking prey. She's dressed in her usual armor-crisp white blouse, tailored slacks, heels that click ominously on her driveway, but her face is a mask of barely contained fury. The truck blocking her garage has trapped her, and the sight of it seems to ignite something unhinged within her. She doesn't approach you directly, not yet. Instead, she storms to the edge of her lawn, her phone pressed to her ear, her voice loud enough to carry across the street. "Yes, I need a tow truck now," she snaps. "This is an emergency. Some delinquent has blocked my property." You set your mug down, the faint clink against the porch railing grounding you. The neighbors are out. Now Mrs. Garcia lingers by her mailbox, pretending to sort through junk mail. Mr. Thompson's terrier yaps softly, tugging at its leash. The Patels peer from their window, their silhouettes framed by lace curtains. The air feels charged, like the moment before a lightning strike. And you know this is no longer just about a parking spot. It's about power, about who controls the rhythm of this community. Karen thinks she's still in charge, but you've rattled her, and the cracks in her facade are starting to show. She ends her call and turns her gaze on you, her eyes narrowing to slits. "You think you're clever, don't you?" she calls out, her voice cutting through the morning quiet like a blade. "Blocking my garage. You're breaking the law, and I'll make sure you pay for it." She steps onto the street, her heels echoing with each purposeful stride, and you feel the weight of every eye on you. The neighborhood is a stage now, and you're both players in a drama that's about to erupt. You step off your porch, the gravel crunching under your shoes, and meet her halfway. "I'm not breaking any laws, Karen," you say, your voice calm but firm, like a riverbed holding steady against a current that trucks on a public street legally parked. "You, on the other hand, are in my assigned spot. Care to explain?" That, the question hangs in the air, sharp and deliberate, and for a moment you see her falter, a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. But it's gone as quickly as it came, replaced by a surge of rage. "Don't you dare lecture me," she screams, her voice rising to a pitch that makes the neighbors flinch. "I run this HOA. I make the rules. You're nothing but a troublemaker, and I'll have you out of this neighborhood before you know it." She's close now, too close, her perfume overwhelming, a sickly mix of lavender and spite. You hold your ground, but the air feels thicker, the tension coiling like a spring. Then it happens. Karen lunges forward, her hand swinging toward you, a wild, reckless arc. You dodge just in time, her nails grazing the air where your face was a moment ago. The neighbors gasp, a collective intake of breath that ripples through the street. But Karen doesn't stop. She grabs a garden rake leaning against her mailbox, its metal tines glinting in the sunlight, and swings it toward you. The move is unhinged, desperate, and you barely sidestep it, the rake clanging against the pavement with a sound like a gunshot. The street erupts into chaos. Mrs. Garcia shouts. Mr. Thompson's dog barks frantically, and somewhere a child starts crying. You don't want this fight, but you're not backing down. You grab the rake's handle, wrenching it from her grip, and toss it aside, the wood splintering as it hits the ground. Karen's face is flushed, her breath ragged, but she's not done. She charges again, this time with her fists, and one connects with your shoulder, a glancing blow, but it stings, sharp and hot. You shove her back, not hard, just enough to create space, but she stumbles, her heel catching on the curb. She falls to her knees, and for a moment you think it's over. But then you see the blood her palms scraped raw against the asphalt, a thin trickle running down her wrist. The sight of it freezes you. The neighbors are shouting now, some calling for calm, others egging her on. Karen scrambles to her feet, her blouse stained with dirt, her hair wild. "You'll regret this," she screams, her voice hoarse but venomous. She lunges again, but you're ready, stepping aside and letting her momentum carry her past you. She stumbles into the truck, her hands slamming against its rusty hood. And for a moment, she's just a woman undone, her authority crumbling like dry earth. You take a step back, your breath steady despite the adrenaline coursing through you. The street is a battlefield now, littered with the debris of Karen's raged rake, a overturned flower pot, her dignity. The neighbors are no longer just spectators. They're witnesses to her unraveling. You see it in their faces, Mrs. Garcia's quiet nod, Mr. Thompson's clenched jaw, the Patels stepping out onto their porch, unafraid for the first time. Karen's power is slipping, and you've stood your ground. But you know this isn't the end. Karen's not one to admit defeat, and the blood on her hands only fuels her fury. She straightens, wiping her palms on her slacks, and glares at you with a hatred that feels almost tangible, like the heat rising off the pavement. "This isn't over," she hisses, her voice low and dangerous. She turns and stalks back to her house, her heels uneven on the cracked sidewalk, leaving the rake and her pride behind. The neighborhood is quiet again, but it's a different kind of quiet, a hush of awe, of realization. You've faced Karen head-on, and you're still standing. The truck remains in front of her garage, unmoved, a symbol of your resolve. The air carries the faint scent of blood and earth, now mingling with the jasmine, and you feel the weight of what's happened. You didn't want to fight, but you've drawn a line, and the community sees it. They're starting to see her, too, not as the untouchable HOA queen, but as something else, something fragile, something fake. As you walk back to your house, the sun climbs higher, casting harsh light across the street. The rhythm of your life has been tested, but you've held firm. Karen's scam is still out there, waiting to be exposed, and you're closer than ever to unraveling it. The next move is yours, and you know it's time to push harder, to bring her house of cards crashing down. The afternoon sun hangs low, casting a golden haze over the street, softening the sharp edges of the morning's chaos. The air is thick with the scent of cooling asphalt and fading jasmine, a quiet reminder of the rhythm you're fighting to restore. Mike's pickup truck still blocks Karen's garage, its rusty frame a steadfast sentinel, while her black SUV remains in your parking spot, a lingering symbol of her defiance. The neighborhood has settled into an uneasy hush, the echoes of the street brawl fading but not forgotten. You stand on your porch, the wood creaking softly under your weight, and feel the eyes of the community on you, not with judgment now, but with quiet expectation. The battle with Karen has reached its crescendo, the faint hum of your ceiling fan grounding you as you sift through the documents from the county clerk's office. The papers are spread across your coffee table, their edges curling slightly in the warm air, each one a piece of the puzzle you've been assembling. The HOA bylaws, the unlogged fines, the unvoted parking review, they all point to one truth. Karen's been running a scam, manipulating the rules to line her pockets and tighten her grip on the neighborhood. But you need hard evidence, something undeniable, something that will strip away her authority once and for all. You find it in a single sheet of paper, tucked away in the stack like a secret waiting to be uncovered. It's a receipt from the HOA's printing vendor, dated 6 months ago, for 500 custom parking permits that were never distributed to the community. The cost was charged to the HOA's account, but the delivery address is Karen's house. Your pulse quickens as you read, the faint smell of ink on the paper mingling with the coffee you've been nursing. Karen's been forging permits, selling them to select neighbors for preferred parking, pocketing the cash while enforcing her fake rules on everyone else. It's brazen, almost reckless, and it's the key to her downfall. You decide to act swiftly. The neighborhood's monthly HOA meeting is tonight, a gathering Karen usually dominates with her clipboard and smug decrees. This time, you'll be ready. You spend the afternoon preparing, printing copies of the receipt. The air in your home feels charged, the faint ticking of your kitchen clock marking the countdown to the confrontation. You call Mrs. Garcia, Mr. Thompson, and the Patels, sharing just enough to rally them without tipping your hand. Their voices carry a mix of caution and excitement. They're tired of Karen's reign, and they trust you to lead the charge. The meeting is held in the community center, a low brick building at the end of the street, its interior smelling of polished wood and stale air freshener, drawn by the whispers of what happened this morning. Karen sits at the front, her posture rigid, her blouse pristine despite the dirt from her fall. She's trying to reclaim her authority, her voice smooth as she reads the agenda. But you notice the tightness in her jaw, the way her eyes dart toward you when she thinks no one's watching. You wait for the open forum, the part of the meeting where residents can speak. The air feels heavy, the fluorescent lights buzzing softly overhead, and you stand, your stack of papers in hand. The room falls silent, the weight of every gaze pressing against you. I have something to share, you say, your voice steady, cutting through the tension like a breeze through stifling heat. You hold up the receipt for the parking permits, its crisp edges catching the light. Karen ordered 500 custom parking permits last year, paid for with HOA funds, delivered to her house. They were never distributed. Why? The room erupts in murmurs, a low hum that grows louder as you continue. You pass out copies of the bylaws, pointing to the clause about assigned parking and the unlogged fines, each one a thread in the web Karen's woven. She's been selling fake permits, you say, your words deliberate, each one landing like a stone. She's been fining us for rules that don't exist, keeping the money for herself. This isn't leadership, it's theft. Karen's face drains of color, her hands gripping the edge of the table. That's a lie, she shouts, standing so quickly her chair scrapes against the floor. You're making this up to discredit me. But her voice cracks, and the neighbors aren't listening to her anymore. They're passing the documents among themselves, their whispers turning to outrage. Mrs. Garcia stands, her voice trembling, but firm. I paid $200 for a permit last month, she says. Karen said it was for priority parking. Where's that money? Mr. Thompson follows, his terrier absent but his anger present. She'll find me $150 for parking in my own driveway. Said it was too close to the street. The room is a cauldron now, simmering with years of resentment. Karen tries to regain control, her voice rising to a shriek. You can't prove anything, she snaps, but it's too late. You hold up your phone, displaying an email from the printing vendor, confirming the permits were delivered to Karen's address. The evidence is airtight, and the neighborhood sees it. They see her not as the HOA queen, but as a fraud, her crown shattered. Karen's composure crumbles. She grabs her clipboard and storms toward the door, but the Patels block her path. Their faces stern. We deserve answers, Mr. Patel says, his voice calm but unyielding. The room closes in around her, not with violence, but with the weight of their collective will. Karen's eyes dart wildly, searching for an escape, but there's none. She mutters something incoherent and pushes past, her heels echoing down the hall as she flees into the night. The meeting ends in a blur of raised voices and plans for action. The neighbors vote to remove Karen as HOA president, effective immediately, and to audit the HOA's finances. The street feels different now, lighter, as if the shadow Karen cast has lifted. Her SUV is still in your spot, but it doesn't matter anymore. You'll have it towed tomorrow, legally, with the HOA's blessing. As you walk home, the stars above are bright, the rhythm of the neighborhood settling into a new cadence. The truck still blocks Karen's garage, but it's a relic now, a symbol of a battle won. You've exposed her scam, humiliated her in front of the community she tried to control, and restored the balance she disrupted. The victory is yours, not just for you, but for everyone who's ever felt the sting of her tyranny. You pause on your porch, the wood warm under your feet, and think of the life you've reclaimed. Karen's gone, and the neighborhood is yours again.